Sockers are going for an MASL 3P. Join us Sunday, December 11th at Pechanga Arena for the home opener against Empire Strikers. Come early for the ring ceremony as we raise a 16th championship banner before the 5 o'clock kickoff. Tickets at Sockers.com.
Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Sockers Overtime. Your look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League. Coming to you live on Twitch. Craig Elston, Jerry Jimenez, back with you for Season 5, Episode 3. As the grind begins, the MASL season is underway. Soccer's training camp is here, and the first game is less than 2 episodes away. I'm coming to you from La Mesa. We head out to Spring Valley, where this man catches communicable diseases like Boris Pardo catches half volleys. Here's Jerry Jimenez.
I hate you. I hate you so much. Look, I'm taking one for the team, everybody. So if you see me like coughing on the side, and I'll mute. I'll make sure not to bother you guys with it. I'll be drinking a lot of water as well, but I'm good. I'm taking one for the team today. We're here. I'm in good spirits. We're back, right? We're actually back. Like, the team is back playing. We have a lot to talk about, so I'm excited to be back, man.
On today's show, MASL season is underway. And then the Sockers open training camp.
Yeah.
And then the MASL changes a rule.
This I'm interested in.
Talk about it all.
Yeah, I want you to talk about it because I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm interested in this.
We're going to talk about it all. We're going to take a look at the Western Conference before the games begin. Western Conference teams get started beginning with Empire on Thursday night, hosting Tacoma. Monterrey plays this weekend. So we'll break down some of the Western Conference opponents to come. Our special guest coming up at 5:30 is Boris Pardo. Name-checked him for a reason. The goalkeeper of the year will be making his first appearance of the year live on Sockers Overtime. That coming up at the bottom of the hour. And we will take a quick look at a ticket partnership that's already turned a bit troublesome for the MASL. All that coming up on this edition of Sockers Overtime. You know, Jerry, it's such a busy time right now for you. Sorry, I'm adjusting my light. For me, for everybody. I'm just reaching across the screen. Want to say, as we do that, hello to everybody that's watching, not only live on Twitch. D. Bishop saying, Jerry, you didn't put up your blanket.
I know.
It's because you've been underneath it for the last 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been using it to cover myself, keep myself warm. I don't know how it happened, man. So just so everybody knows, all right, let's get this out of the way. I got COVID, and then my kids got the flu, and I got the flu right after I got out of COVID. So it was like right from one sickness right into the other, and it's been really bad. But we have work to do. So yeah, that blanket's been keeping me warm, man. That's all I can say for now.
It'll be there soon. Mine
I'll be up here.
Available at the merchandise stand for the home opener, December 11th. Double-sided, thick blanket, can cover an entire queen-size bed. It's a good one, and we have tested it. So, yeah, absolutely. It's great to have you here, though, man. And I know Monday, I just feel bad. I'll just tell everyone, like, Monday, I'm like, you know, I'm meeting with Sean, and we're talking about planning the week. And Jerry and I already know, like, you know, we got through October, then he had to miss 2 weeks, then he had to miss another week. And we're like, well, every Monday we're going to get together, we're going to talk, we're going to, you know, really, you know, lay everything out, get it all right. And then I have all this stuff written down under Talk with Jerry. It's in there.
Oh, jeez.
And call Jerry. Hey, Jerry, ready to talk? Nope.
I was like, no, man. I am not up for it right now.
Because the first thing I wrote down is, oh, man, I'm going to see a lot of you this week. Wednesday, we've got the photo shoot. Thursday, we've got the hype video shoot. Friday, we've got the golf tournament. Sunday, we got the season ticket member party. This is one of the busiest weeks. This really is. That's why we're calling this podcast The Grind Begins, because this is when the grind begins. The team is here. Everyone's together, and everything's happening between now and 2 Sundays from now when it's time to get going, when it's time for the season to begin.
Yeah, it's time to go. And that's why I also feel terrible because, there's so much that I have to do. However, I am ready to go. I will be there tomorrow. I'm already feeling a lot better. Like I was telling you earlier, it's like I think today is like the one day I'm finally out of it.
Yeah.
So tomorrow should be good. I am going to wear like a face mask the entire time, though, just to protect everybody around me. And we'll get it going, man, because I know we have so much to do this week. We have way too much. And already, like, I was watching games, actual MASL games on TV, and I'm going, oh, no, it's game time. The grind begins now. Like, we're on, KC and St. Louis Ambush already went at it twice, and that was exciting. It's like, all right, now we really got to get going. Like, it's time.
Well, let's dive into it. Let's dive into our headline segment to start the show, and you mentioned it, the I-70 rivalry kicked off the MASL season. Week 1 is in the books. It had 2 games in it, so it's not much of a week, more like 2 games. But there it is, St. Louis and Kansas City, starting off at St. Louis's home, the Family Arena, where the Ambush prevailed in overtime against the Comets, 5-4. Then the 2 teams traveled across, went over to Kansas City's home, Cable Dahmer Arena, and that's where the Comets put together a really defensive show and won that one 4-2. So these 2 rivals out to 500 starts. And having watched the games, and you said you watched the games as well, I think you see certain things in that first weekend. I think the second game naturally saw some real heavy legs and saw some guys that weren't all the way there yet. We're going to see that this weekend. We're going to see that next weekend as teams break in to this year's MASL. The back-to-back on that first week, man, that is tough.
Yeah, that was not you could tell right away, like, that was not easy for the guys coming back. The first game was definitely a fun one to watch, but also I would say for both games, very low scoring from what I'm used to seeing from these teams. So we saw, like you said, a 5-4 in overtime to St. Louis in St. Louis, and then KC taking the other one, defensive game. The second one was just very defensively played, and that was a 2-4. And so, yeah, you could see the heavy legs, man, in that second game. It was just, it wasn't an easy thing for them to come back. And I think you're right. I think we're going to see a lot of that for the first, couple of weeks of MASL coming back. A lot of the teams are going to be kind of similar, maybe some low-scoring games. But it was nice also to see some famous faces in the stands. I don't know if you saw that, but Mr. Ted Lasso himself was in Kansas City for the Comets St. Louis game. So that was pretty cool to see that we have, some attention from very high up in the, in the fame world coming to MASL.
Yeah, and I heard, which I didn't know, that Jason Sudeikis lives in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. He had on kind of a retro-y Comets jersey from what I saw, which is also super cool. And that's great. I mean, we're trying to link the outdoor game to the indoor game. We're trying to bring outdoor fans indoors. So to bring fiction's greatest soccer coach to the match, that's terrific. And hopefully more to come. Hopefully he has some nice things to say. Maybe we can get an Instagram post out of him. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was really cool. It was cool to see him there. And I heard our boys Nick and Eric, say, hey, Ted Lasso in the house. And I was like, oh, they've got, like, an impersonator. Cool. No, they had the real thing, man.
The real thing.
That was the real guy.
Yeah, yeah. Those 2 games were definitely fun to watch. If you guys haven't seen them, you can go back and watch the highlights, which I think is awesome too, that we're starting to see the highlights now released from MASL. And then I don't know if we don't have this actually in our menu for today, but if you haven't gotten a chance, go and check out MSL Monday. MSL Monday is back
That's
also.
true.
And they do a great
Just came
review
back.
of the games as well. So just came back and see, and like when these things start happening, Craig, I start feeling the pressure. It's like, okay, now I really need to get better because I have too much to do. I can't just be lying here with my soccer's blanket covering me.
Enjoying all the content, though. See, that's how you knew
Yeah,
MASL Monday was there. Because, I mean, you've probably had a laptop propped on your tummy for the last 4 days.
it's my phone, but
Um,
yeah, yeah.
fair enough. So, as we said, yeah, and we talked about this last week. It's just funny the timing of this. The MASL is rolling out um, almost like a quiet opening, of a restaurant where you didn't know the doors were open, soft opening. And so you've got a couple games last weekend. You've got like 3 games this weekend, and then things will really roll in that third week. But the Sockers made the decision to be last into the pool, and hopefully they won't be first out. We don't think they will. But training camp opened officially Monday, yesterday, as we record this on Tuesday, November 29th. Not much time, even in the words of Phil Salvaggio. First thing he said to the team was, well, we got 12 days until a game, so we better get to it. And then they immediately started warming up. This is a rare situation where I think just the veteran nature of this team and their familiarity with one another is really going to be heavily relied upon. And the fact that there is so much continuity to this year's team, I think that's kind of like, honestly, Jerry, the only way you can set up for the season like this and have any hope that in the first 4 games you're going to be together at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's I think with these guys knowing each other so well, I don't think it's gonna be as big of an issue. I'm hoping maybe it's just my like positive side. I think we talked about it last week as well about like just is this gonna affect them? How much is this gonna hurt them coming in just literally yesterday into practice where there's games already being played, and I think we are the last team right to get into training. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I think we're gonna have some very, very heavy legs for the first couple of games, as you mentioned it. But I think, and we said it again last episode, and we'll say it again. I think it's gonna come down to really, hitting that stride at the right time, getting into that place where you're in a good place and you're moving forward and forward and getting better and better at the right time. So you hitting the peak, I think is what we called it. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but like you need a peak at the right time, I think is what it was. And I think these guys can do it. I honestly do. I just hope that they're not overconfident. I hope that they don't bring that, like they don't come in just thinking that we don't need to work as hard as everybody else because we're the champions coming in, and repeat champions. Let's go for that three-peat. I think these guys have it. I think there's a reason why this team is as good as it is. So, I mean, fingers crossed, Craig. You tell me, what have you seen so far? You've been there for the last couple of practices.
Well, here's the challenge of trying to run from behind. The challenge of trying to put a team with 2 fewer weeks of training into the same pot as other teams that have been training for a month is that you have this kind of push me, pull you situation where on one side you want to really grind the team, right? You're behind. So let's go. Let's double it up. If we were going to play 10 minutes of 6v6, let's play 20. If we were going to run 2 drills, let's run 4. Let's double up the intensity because we've got half the time. However, when and if you do that, you very much risk taking bodies that aren't quite ready yet for the pounding of the season and putting them into danger for soft tissue injuries, meaning muscle pulls, whether it's a quad pull, a hamstring, a calf, a groin, an adductor. These are the types of injuries that you get when you're not quite there, but you push it like you are. So what I've seen in the first 2 days is that balance being struck, and in particular, veteran players knowing when to kind of raise the flag. and head to the sideline and either take a shorter shift or say this drill's not for me, or I need to cut the session right here because I know where my danger point is, and I'm getting really close to it. And again, I feel like if this was any other situation, a coach that didn't know their team or players that didn't know one another, stuff like that would be really problematic at the first couple of practices. Whereas for the Sockers, it's like, okay, no, everyone has that trust. Everyone knows who they are. And if one of the leaders has to come off 80% of the way through the training, you know that he's going to be 100% there when the games are coming. It's not being lazy or slacking off. It's knowing your limits and being careful to avoid injury.
Yeah, for sure. And it was nice to see, finally some video and pictures of the guys back together, as well as the two new guys. I saw them, and it looked like they were fitting right in too. So that was nice to see, and looked like they were getting along with everybody from the video that I saw. Again, like you said, I think it's the fact that they know each other so well already, and it's pretty much all the same faces except for those two that I just mentioned. But these guys are a special group of guys, and I think that they understand each other so well that, like you said, making those right decisions of being able to tell yourself, okay, no, I need to step out, or and then also obviously the coach allowing that to happen and giving them that freedom and saying, hey, you know yourself better. We have a goal and we need to get there. That's it, and let's get there in a very short amount of time, unfortunately, but I think it's possible. It's just a matter of now seeing where it goes. And golly, man, we were how many days away, you said?
Now 11, right?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
11 days.
And
What's
then
up?
back to back.
What's up, Gio? Gio's in here.
Hey,
And
good to see
Marlisha
Gio.
and Susan and Easy Money. And hi, everybody. Sorry.
Did you notice Easy Money is joining us from Qatar?
He's in Qatar?
He is in Qatar at the World
Hey.
Cup. And it's probably like the middle of the day or maybe early in the night. I think it's in the morning right now in Qatar. So
Easy, what time is it right now?
Good morning, Easy Money.
Yeah, what time is it over there? I'm interested to know that. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Sorry, I hadn't seen the chats here on the side. I'm a little slow today, so I'm sure you guys can understand. 4:20 in the morning. Oh my gosh.
Of course it is, Easy Money. Only for you. Of course it's 4:20 all the time, wherever you are.
It's 5:20 here.
I kid. All right, some more news. Just again, we said this is such a busy week for the San Diego Sockers. Tomorrow, the Sockers will be taking all of the photos for the glamour shots that you see over the course of the year and putting together most of the videos that you will see at whether it's on the Jumbotron or in our social media over the course of the season. Once again, we'll be doing more of that on Thursday for our hype video, for our third kit video. And then Friday is the Sockers Charity Golf Classic. It's going to be a good one at Mount Woodson. Put my foursome in for the Padres hot tub community on Monday. We still have a couple of slots open. So if you are somebody out there that is a golfer, is interested in going out golfing, having a soccer in your foursome, having an incredible time, it's a 9 a.m. tee, first tee, scramble format, of course, at Mount Woodson. And it's going to be so intense and so much fun. And, Jerry, it's just wild, man, how this week is going because you got knocked down. And our man, our director of community, JG, Skinny G, we're calling him, John Green, who's been doing such an amazing job with his health over the course of the summer, just got the cruelest irony of he had to have emergency gallbladder surgery.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and have his gallbladder taken out, and that's like a pretty invasive surgery, and that happened over the weekend. So my man JG is completely laid out and unavailable as well for his project, his thing, the golf tournament. He might be limping around out there on Friday, but just, shouts out and all good healing vibes, best wishes to John Green. Sockers Golf Tournament, Sockers Golf Charity Classic coming up Friday at Mount Woodson. We will have coverage. Follow our social media to check it all out.
Yes, that's going to be fun.
going to be a kick. All right, we just got a couple more minutes before Boris Pardo will be joining us. And the first thing I want to mention, and just kind of do this quickly as almost a public service for our San Diego Sockers fans. The Major Arena Soccer League entered into a secondary ticket marketplace agreement with a website called SI Tickets, SI Sports Illustrated. And this is whether it's, it's not literally like the magazine publishers as a ticket marketplace, but obviously it's something that they've done as a diversification of business and of platform, and they struck a deal with the MASL. And in the very first weekend, I think you saw a lot of complaints from people that are looking to buy tickets in the Major Arena Soccer League because they went on SI Tickets and found seats at significant markup compared to the identical tickets being available on Ticketmaster or on the individual ticket platform for a particular arena. And I just want to say this, Jerry, and obviously I'm not going to put you in any hot soup at all, but we talked about this at our campfire, our staff meeting on Monday. This is a league thing. This is a league deal. Individual teams had the opportunity within the league to either opt in or opt out of posting tickets, putting a group of tickets, a block of tickets per se, onto SI Tickets for sale. The Sockers chose not to do that. We made that choice not to do that. So any tickets, if you go to SI Tickets, that you see for a Sockers match, that's somebody else who took their own ticket and put it up for resale. It is not the Sockers. The Sockers aren't affiliated with SI Tickets. The Sockers don't make money off SI Tickets. SI Tickets doesn't make money off the Sockers other than somebody else, some other person who bought a ticket, putting their ticket up for sale there. So I just want to make that clear because I, too, looked at SI Tickets just this afternoon, Jerry, in fact, in the hour before the show, and saw that GA tickets were going for like $48 or $50 on there. Loge tickets were going for around like $90, and those aren't our prices. And you can get our prices by going to Sockers.com, by calling 866-799-GOAL, by going to the Pechanga Arena box office. You can do any of, or going to AXS, which is the ticket system that Pechanga Arena uses. And we recommend you do any of those things because you don't need to spend 150% or 200% of a ticket price to come to a Sockers match. That's not what we intend.
Yeah, I saw that, and it was so infuriating. I'm like, what is happening? And I saw a lot of comments, and just from people saying that SI is also owned by Ticketmaster. I don't know how truthful that is. I don't think that's the case, but I don't know. It just seemed really odd that the pricing was just so off. It was like ridiculously off. So yeah, I can see how it can be frustrating for people that are trying to buy tickets, especially if the league is pushing SI as a platform to buy tickets, and then you trust the league and you go and do that, and you see that the pricing is nowhere near what you're used to. It could upset some people and might get them upset at their club when the club really didn't do anything,
Yeah, absolutely. So just keep that in mind. We're not saying don't use the platform. Do what you want to do. We don't take a position like that. We're saying that we chose not to opt in. We chose not to put tickets on that marketplace. And we invite you to get tickets directly from us. As Marlisha says, just call Ezra. Call Spencer, call Easy, 866-799-GOAL. They will take care of business on their end, and you can take care of business on your end. Jerry, just heads up, I just got a text from Boris, said he was trying to get in. So if there's a way to let him into the back room.
I accepted him in, and then he clicked out, so I'm not sure what happened. But
I'll tell him to try again.
Try again.
Please try again. Okay, last thing as we welcome Boris on, because this matters for Boris. And also, this brings us to our favorite segment, Jerry, called MASL Gonna MASL.
Yeah.
We
my
should have a
favorite.
graphic for that. Oh, add that to your list, buddy. We should have a graphic for that.
MASL, good. MASL. Then we're gonna have some. Hold on. Not that one. Oh yeah, this one. I think it should be this one. MASL, gonna MASL. Yeah, I don't know why it kicked him out again. By the way, he just tried it again. So I'm not sure what he's doing. Craig, if you want to tell him to, I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that.
Well, let me get into this topic, and then I'll text to him while you discuss.
Okay.
After 2 games are played in the league, the MASL announced a rule change.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, the director of communications is in Qatar, so did that have to do with it? This rule change is significant and was just posted without any announcement on the MASL website today. And I mean, this 40 years of indoor soccer precedent is broken by this new rule. Let me read it directly. Goalkeeper serving penalties. Effective immediately, all MASL goalkeepers for the 2023-23 regular season and playoffs will now serve their own time penalties on blue and yellow cards. And then they show that with this new position, the rule showing that the goalkeeper will not serve their time penalties is taken out of the game. So, and this is something that happened last year, few times, but at least once or twice. There was a situation where Boris Pardo came out of his crease, challenging a player, tackled the player, and was served a blue card and a shootout, right? And then had to face a shootout and a potential power play to follow. Now, were that situation to occur again, Boris Pardo would go to the box to serve 2 minutes. The Sockers would have to put another field player in the box to allow Xavier Snare-Williams to sub into the game as the goalkeeper, face the shootout, and if he stopped it, the ensuing penalty. And then when the penalty expired, the field player would run out, and then at the next dead ball, Boris would run out and exchange places with Xavier and send Xavier to the bench. Even worse, a 5-minute for a yellow, same thing. I mean, it's 5-on-5, but you would have to sub in or sub out a field player, sub in the goalkeeper, and then wait for 5 minutes and a dead ball to flip out the keeper. I mean, it's interesting, but all the way back to the earliest of the 1980s, this never happened when a goalkeeper served was shown a card. It's never happened.
That's crazy. Crazy. You know what, too? And I think this would have affected, I think, at least one of the games that just happened. Didn't the KC goalkeeper get a blue during? Yeah. Neto, I think, had.
Yeah.
I think Neto, right? I think he had a blue card in one of the games. I don't know. That's interesting. I see
wild.
some of the people here in the chat reacting. Yeah, he had multiple. So so what Miss Whatsit is thinking is that it probably has something to do with Neto getting like 3 blue cards.
I mean, maybe. But you wouldn't change a
Neto had a blue in the
rule
first game. That's what it was.
for the entire league
No.
because something happened in a game.
No.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And Boris is having a hard time connecting. He said he's trying to connect from his phone.
Yeah, it usually works. Not sure
yeah, it
what's
does
happening.
usually work.
Can you have him try to flip his phone sideways and then try it, or he's gonna have to. I'm not sure because I'm letting him in and then it kicks him out, and I don't know why it's doing that.
Okay. Say something for 20 seconds. I'll text him.
For 20 seconds. Well, let's go through
Any
some of the
topic. Choose some poetry, anything you'd like.
Yeah, make the sick guy talk. So let me see. I don't know if it has to. So yeah, Ms. What's it 411 says. I mean this rule has to be inspired by a specific goalkeeper, though. I think that it's something that it doesn't seem like it's spur of the moment. It's probably something that they had been talking about, just hadn't come to a conclusion, and decided to drop it on us 2 games in, which is really interesting. Why are you gonna cry, Gio? I'm interested to know why you're gonna cry.
To cry laughing, maybe? I don't know. Or maybe he just really misses Boris. Because I do too. No.
Yeah.
I just think it's weird, man.
Yeah.
But look, this is the league that announced that there would be a supporters, an MASL shield for the points champion the day before the points champion was settled, and then sent the shield the week after the season ended. And then it became a supporters shield because we made it one. So MASL going to MASL.
Yeah. Yep. And we got him, by the way.
It's just weird. It's really weird. And I know that there's not like a ton of goalkeeper penalties. I want to say, and I could go look it up, I want to say that Boris maybe had 4 last year total. Like maybe 1 blue, 3 yellows, something like that. But it could come to a very specific situation where a goalkeeper of the year, not necessarily San Diego, right? It could be a Clayson DeLima. It could be a Danny Waltman or a Chris Toth or a Diego Reynoso or a Berna Valdivinos, right? Could be out of a game. And it was 1 blue card, 1 yellow card last year for Boris Prado. So it only happened twice. But if it happens in a playoff game, that could literally change a season. So, hey, MASL going to MASL. Very interesting. We have a goalkeeper all lined up to talk about it, and his phone won't let him in.
No, he's here. He's here.
Oh, he's here.
I said we got him. You were too busy talking. You didn't
part.
pay attention to me. I said
too
we
busy
got him.
Talking.
He's in.
You know what? I just got to tell you guys, my wife says the exact same thing. I'm too busy
listen.
talking. I'm not paying attention.
You're not listening.
I'm not listening.
You
But
know
then I
what,
say
though?
the same thing about her. So, is that fair? Let's bring in the goalkeeper of the year. Let's bring in the great Boris Pardo, joining us now live on Soccer's Overtime. We made it happen, Bopa. Welcome.
We made it happen. How are you guys?
Good.
Good, but better now. All right, we just talked about it. We are confused. We are flummoxed. But you're the man who this would affect. If you take a blue, you're going to the box in 2022-23, and X is going to have to sub in for you to serve the penalty. Your thoughts on this rule change?
I don't mind it. I don't have a problem with it. It keeps the goalkeepers in line and makes the game more interesting. Goalkeepers need to be accountable for their actions. You know, whatever the call might be, and you can always challenge it, but depending on the situation, that's up to the team. A good thing, Xavier, he's prepared and he can step into those situations.
Well, a blue card for you usually means stopping an obvious scoring chance. It usually means you coming out of the box either for a handball because you're getting volleyed and you have to block it to save a goal, or sometimes it's been a tackle and it's going to put a cold keeper in to face a shootout. That's one thing that I find interesting, but the part you said that I really do reflect on as well, because I think to the semifinal when Berna had a lit fuse for most of those games, a yellow could be a game changer. 5 minutes of your regular keeper off the floor. Look out, that could change everything.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I hope that the referees follow through with disciplining the other goalkeepers. I mean, yeah, there were some things that might have said to a referee that was deserving of a yellow, so I got to keep my mouth shut, control the emotions. But yeah, I mean, I just want the referees to follow through if this is what's going to happen. I mean, and the antics, I thought a goalkeeper needs to stay in their box. I remember that being one rule. Goalkeeper can't leave the box to argue with the referee, and now you got goalkeepers walking half field and they're not even captains and saying something. So yeah, I actually totally agree, and I do like that call, and you know, I'll go ahead and say it. Like, there are goalkeepers out there in this league. They do the gamesmanship. They try and manage the game, and they get a little mouthy, and it's annoying. So yeah, that game with Chihuahua, it was more me defending my teammate that was in the box, and he wants to keep chirping at him over the boards, and nobody's separating him. The referees aren't even paying attention. So again, like, if they're going to make this rule, I just hope the referees follow through and they take care of and to protect the integrity of the game.
It's gonna be real interesting to
100%.
see how they handle it. And this is honestly, so I've been kind of out sick, Boris. I don't know, you missed that, but I'm just finding out about this. So it's interesting to see kind of, first of all, the decision being made to throw this, 2 games into the season already. Obviously, 2 teams, 2 games. I don't know, it's weird, but
Yeah.
also just your immediate reaction to it is, hey, you know what? It is what it is. You just gotta go with it, rather than like looking at it from a different angle and trying to find the bad in it. It's like, okay, well, I mean, we don't have another choice. Let's just and finding the good in it too, because like you said, it's gonna keep, hopefully, if they follow through with it, the refs follow through with it, then it's gonna keep everybody on their toes and being respectful and keeping them on check too. So that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, like like, let's say, for example, this first game in Kansas City against St. Louis. I mean, I feel like a goalkeeper could have had probably two blue cards in one game
Yeah.
easily, and Neto could have easily had two blue cards. And is that last a tackle? Was that last tackle at the end of the game when they lost in overtime? Um, I mean, is that going to go back? Is he going to get one, or? So I hope there's not a gray area where, oh no, it was a game-winning goal. We're not going to be bothered with it. Like, no, like, if you're going to hold the goalkeepers accountable for the game, yes, and also, whatever carries over, because I feel like the league picks and chooses what events they want to take action on. But I'm not critiquing anybody. I'm attacking anybody. It's just the inconsistency, and I think that's what we all want, is that consistency with the league. So there aren't these reasons that we do blow up at the referees, or any kind of committees in place and we're questioning. I mean, yeah, like, again, like, they went back, they reviewed my tackle against Willie Spur, which I still, never intended to hurt a player, but it was more of me protecting myself in that instance. Um, so it ended up being a terrible outcome for him. But if I didn't protect myself, maybe I would have ended up with a broken wrist, because that was a full swing.
Right.
So it was like, okay, we need to be smarter with our tackles. We need to be mindful of that. But they went back, they reviewed it, and I mean, they probably wanted more games than just one or two. Who knows? But yeah, I think we need to be held accountable regardless.
So, Boris, the other thing we were talking about before you came on was how the Sockers began training camp this week, and kind of the odd situation of having there be regular season games in the books, and then a team arrives for training camp, and kind of trying to hustle up to the starting line here as a group. You guys knowing one another obviously has played a role in being able to handle jumping into the pool 2 feet first. But what are your thoughts after 2 training sessions in terms of what lies ahead to get you guys prepared for next Saturday up in Ontario?
I think first and foremost is just we need to keep playing and scrimmaging, and just getting those bad habits that we all pick up in the off season. because I mean we all respectively go our own ways, and some guy play for other teams and whatnot, and you just build these bad habits, and you forget to play off each other. So I think it's just kind of hopping on that. And it's like not riding a bicycle after a while and just get on it and crap. I might fall over a couple times, but eventually you're gonna get it, and we're gonna be all right. It's just getting those old habits out of our system and finding that rhythm again. But it's like we're gonna have some hiccups starting late. Doesn't help. I mean, I don't think anybody's really happy about it, but it is what it is, and just got to deal with it. We were expected to come in fit, but these amount of days, and with everything that we're doing too with the club and certain events, it you know kind of packing everything in 1 or 2 weeks before we play our first away game and our first back to back for the season. So I don't think that's probably the wisest thing to do. But yeah, then if we lose a game, everybody's like, "Oh, what happened? The Sockers, everybody beat the Sockers." Yeah, I mean, not creating excuses, but I wish I had 2 months, of preseason like some of these other teams have been going on, and I think we'd be just fine and no excuses. But yeah, we're gonna hit some speed bumps, and the boys, they look good, they look sharp, they look healthy. So I'm super excited to see how this next week unfolds and what to. I mean, we've with Empire Strikers, with them gaining a few new players. It should be interesting of how their dynamic's going to be. Some good additions, really. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting 2 games to start off with.
One of the things that we talked about here on the show in the first episode, and going on, just our listeners really like that we have Hiram Boyo Ruiz back. And you mentioned that Strikers have some new additions, but even though this is not a new addition, this is somebody that we are very familiar with, that we are very excited about. So just wondering kind of your thoughts on his return, the impact that he's going to make on the team this year.
My smile says it all. I love that guy, man. He's good. He's a very good player, and he's very respected. So I mean, he looks fit. He looks hungry. He looks great in practice. I just hope we all just stay healthy. Um, kind of getting everything ready. That's also too like the number one thing. We don't want to lose anybody to any issues like that. But yeah, Poyo looks great. We got Big Rojo. He looks solid first day. And we got some new guys. I'm not too familiar with them. These are new guys that are just put in the mix, but I'm sure the M2, they're looking really solid, and these new guys came in and their coaches are giving them a good look. So yeah, I mean, with everybody back, and with the incorporation of Pollo and Big Rojo, oh man, it's gonna be another fun one. It's gonna be exciting, ups and downs, man, peaks and valleys. We're gonna have some tough ones, but yeah, it's gonna be great.
Well, you talk about the excitement getting ready for the season, and of course we share that here on Soccer's Overtime. When we think about Boris Pardo in the upcoming season, you're defending goalkeeper of the year. You had another one of these Iron Man seasons that you've kind of put together for the San Diego Sockers. You did it in 2018, 2019 when you started every game. You did it in 2021, 2022 when, other than a suspension and 1 day of illness, you started every game for the San Diego Sockers. You're not a spring chicken. I know we've talked about it. We talked about it after the championship, honestly.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking about personally coming into the season in terms of workload, the dreaded phrase load management, if there's any need
Yeah.
for that, or how you want to approach and attack this season?
Uh, managing. Well, one, I have to listen to my body, and two, the coaching staff has to be on board as well with understanding that. They can't just say, "Hey, get in there, it's good for you." No, dude, it's my body. I know I'm already 38 years old. I think I know what's good for me. I know what's not. So there has to be that line of understanding, which there is. and I totally respect the coaching staff. It's been something that I've had to earn and gain, but I think I'm there right now, and I feel great. I had a good off season, well rested. Um, again, it's just the back to back. We'll see how sleep goes because sometimes it's hard to get some good sleep on those nights. But I think regardless, we put Xavier in. Xavier, he got the job done. So there's no problems with putting him in. I don't think the coaching staff is going to have any issues with that. And that's going to definitely help and give him experience too. Because I remember when I first started in Kansas City behind Danny, I probably only got about 2 games my first season, and the next season 4, and the following one after that, 5, and then that was my first 3 years in the league. So yeah, I think he's going to see more time as the season goes. I think, and I'm totally on board with it because that'll give me some rest and I'll be ready. So, it's a good example like Paulo. Paulo came back with St. Louis and the backup came in, did great. Even though they lost, he still did a good job. Um, I don't know how that's going to turn out towards the end of the season if he's going to see that many games back to back because they might need some wins, and to play. So hopefully he gets sharper, which it's good to see a goalkeeper that got picked up by the combine and playing. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. So a lot of kudos to him, and it just shows how the league is they're really pushing for that development. Even though we have a very well established goalie as Paulo, he's no spring chicken either, and he's at an age where he's got to rest his body for those back to backs because they're brutal. I mean, we just did the back to back in Chihuahua with the U.S. national team, and second game wasn't easy. I had to, like 3 Red Bulls in trying to wake up. Like, dude, I can't do that, and my heart's about to explode right now. I'm not liking this. So yeah, it's you do have to manage those games. But again, it's not to say that there's gonna be weekends that I'm not gonna be ready for it. So it's all up to the coaching staff and them protecting player longevity.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned it a little bit already. This, being the second year for X coming in as your backup. How is he developing? How do you see him coming into the season?
Again, he in practices, he's making a lot of good saves. I don't want to put him on blast here. Soccer's overtime. I'm a little too honest sometimes, but it's nothing that I won't tell him right to his face. We both know the things we need to work on, and I try and give him some advice on what he needs to improve on, and he has been. So that's a real big plus on his end. He's reading the game a lot better. He's reading the boards a lot better. I think that's kind of like the main thing. He's staying big. It's just the adjustment from switching from beach to soccer. It's not easy because it's just different, and ball at your feet, you have that one option, so you got to be smart with that one option you have. So yeah, I mean he's coming along nicely. Um, he's looking sharp in practice, and he's been making a lot of good saves. Today he did really well.
Nice.
Great
I'm
stuff. Now,
excited for him.
before we let you go, Boris, you had a really exciting summer, getting the chance to go to Omaha to kind of get back to your old stomping grounds a little bit, but also to get an opportunity to put on the coach's cap and grab the clipboard for
Yeah.
the first time and really get in there. Just tell folks what you had the opportunity to do this summer and what you got out of it.
So a buddy of mine, a good friend, Jay Mims, who well known, well respected in the Midwest, and in the Omaha area, where he coached at Creighton for 13 years under Bob Warming, who started the Creighton program. Um, Him and Bob Warming and Robert Murphy, who was with Orlando City, um, they had a great staff together, and they needed a goalkeeper coach. So they gave me a call. He's been trying to get me to go out there for since the beginning of the season. Before he's like, "You really sure you want to play another season?" Yeah, I'm still playing, dude. But maybe after when I'm done training and after playing, maybe it's something definitely I would like to look into. So he gave me the opportunity as soon as our season was over to head out there, and it was with UD in Omaha, the USL One League One. The year before, well, so it goes MLS, USL Championship, and then USL League One. The championships were the loyal play, but I think the League One is a good league for players to get experience. Good, first year pros straight out of college to learn and to become a professional and understand what it takes to stay and maintain that level. And Coach Mims, he does a tremendous job out there with educating these young guys, with teaching them structure and that discipline of being in that intense environment of being a professional playing for a team. They won the championship the year before. This year, we went out the first round, but they sold about 6 or 7 players to other teams. So it's a great club to develop and to maybe sell players off to. So that's kind of the main thing that they do. They develop and try to make the club money on selling players. So I was learning that whole dynamic and being in the room and drawing up training sessions and going back to the outdoor game. It was amazing and I missed it a lot. The goalkeepers are phenomenal. The starting goalkeeper ended up getting the Golden Glove and the goalkeeper of the year. The backup goalkeeper Kevin, Shido, he was the starter. Amazing player from Ghana. I mean, this kid's one of the most athletic goalkeepers I've seen. And then Kevin, he's the backup. He ended up getting ESPN Top 10 Goal of the Month. Goal, ESPN Top 10, but he got Goal of the Month.
Whoa.
And he punted the ball and he scored. And then he had save of the week, save of the month. So I mean, any other team that kid could start too. So it was great to see these goalkeepers and to work with them. I mean, so it was fun, a lot of fun, and kind of bringing at least some kind of advice to these young kids. I do miss that. So yeah, it was a great experience. Omaha. I mean, I'm not from Omaha, but Midwest, 2.5 hours away from Kansas City. So I was able to go see my 2 sons, Christian and Aiden. I was able to go hang out with them and watch them play their games. That they were super excited for me to be there. So I mean, overall, it was an amazing summer, and I don't regret it at all.
Love it, man. And yeah, I mean, it's cool that he could like kick in a goal and all, but I'm sure you then told him like, I throw in my goals.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I get to throw mine. You got to punt them in. It was crazy. That when that goal went in, the stadium erupted, and everybody was so happy for him because he was such a team player. And that was his moment, several moments. Yeah, it's good.
Great.
But yeah,
Stuff,
but yeah, Bob Warming. But I gotta say, Bob Warming is one of the most, and Jay Mims. They're some of the brightest minds in the game, and they've been doing a tremendous job at in the Midwest. I mean, everywhere you go, oh yeah, Jay Mims, Bob will Coach Warming. Oh yeah, they all know them. Like, whoa, soccer is big in Nebraska. I didn't never expected that. So it's nice.
That's so cool.
Well, buddy, we'll let you go. We really appreciate you taking some time for all the great soccer fans watching live on Twitch and then watching the replay later on YouTube or even listening to the podcast the next day. I know we'll have you on later in the season. We'll see you tomorrow for photo day. We'll see you the next day for hype video. You'll be seeing a lot of us over the next couple of days.
Get tired
we
of us.
appreciate it.
Nice, man. Well, I'm glad everything's back up and running, and we're gonna get the season started. Thanks, guys, for having me. Appreciate it.
All right,
You
thanks,
bet.
Boris.
There he is, the goalkeeper of the year, first
See
team
you guys.
all MASL, Boris Pardo, joining us live on Soccer's Overtime. And during the interview, Jerry, we saw in the chat from Anzus,
Yeah.
scouring MASL transactions, some breaking news. And this is a direct reflection on what Boris was talking about.
Yep.
The tackle that Nicolau Neto had at the end of the game. He has been served a red card retroactively and a 1-match suspension to be served on December 10th. So
I went back and
there
checked
it
it,
is.
and this is true. So, yes. That's crazy. But also,
was
okay,
it really
good.
a reaction rule? Is this the Neto rule?
I wonder. I don't think it is, but, I mean, you never know.
The Neto rule.
The Neto.
I kind of think it's the Neto rule right now.
Oh, man. I mean, that's immediately where everybody's mind went, apparently, so you never know.
As what would LeVar Burton do, Jerry?
What's that? Oh, yeah. Think about it. All the clues point to one direction.
All right, let's wrap things up as we promised with a quick Western Conference preview. 7 teams in the Western Conference, including your San Diego Sockers. One team in particular coming back that I think is front of mind, my friend, and that is the Monterrey Flash. And this is a team that had not one but 2 full seasons off, and as such, they are coming back as a very different-looking team, my friend. Several of their stars who migrated to Chihuahua, and I'm thinking about guys like Pareja, Jorge Rios. I'm thinking about Puentes. I'm thinking about Flaco. I'm thinking, of course, about Torres, Edgar Gonzalez. These guys hung out in Chihuahua. They did not move back to Nuevo Leon. And as such, this new-look Flash team has a roster that I think might be the hardest for us to break down. Some MASL veterans we know, some Flash veterans making a comeback, such as former soccer Eric Tovar, such as Diego Reynoso, who's been their keeper pretty much the whole run. Brian Aguiar is back in Monterrey. Edgar Chapa Flores is back in Monterrey. Eric Rosas is back. Pichardo, Viela, Daniel Viela, who had been playing in Harrisburg, is down. But then you've got a lot of kids that Monterrey signed out of Liga MX and players that are coming from outdoors to indoors. And there's a real question, like, has the talent level gone way up, or is there going to be a big learning curve to overcome in Monterrey?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what this Monterrey team is putting together. Because, I mean, you have some very knowledgeable players there already, but the people that they've kind of put around them, we don't know much about them when it comes to indoor because they haven't really been around it. Mariano Boyela? How do you say his?
Bolea?
Bolea?
Bolea.
Mariano Bolea is the head coach.
No, it's Bolela.
It is
Sorry.
Bolela. It's
Bolela.
double L's twice.
Yeah.
It's 4 L's. He has to have some sort of plan, and it's going to be really interesting to see. And like you said, like, I still keep in touch with Eric Tovar because he's an ex-player and lot of respect there. That guy is definitely a fantastic player. And you said Brian Aguilar as well, Edgar Flores, players like that. But then Diego Reynoso. But then you have new guys coming in from Liga MX. And we know people making their move from the outdoor to the indoor don't necessarily have an easy time. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Chihuahua, I'm surprised Chihuahua kept as many players as they did, Craig. It's very interesting to see that.
That's where our preview goes next, right? Just keep it south of the border. We'll migrate north, and we head from Nuevo Leon over to the state of Chihuahua and the capital city of the state, Chihuahua, where the Chihuahua Savage reside. Looking at this roster, you've got El Sargento, Berna Valdovinos, back in the cage. And as we remember, Jerry, last year, the Savage Los Salvajes started 0-5 with Ivan Terry Munoz in goal. They switched to Berna, and they went 15-1. So Valdovinos, never to be overlooked, one of the best leaders in net in the MASL. Terry Munoz is back as the backup, but then these names, these are the same names, man. Medrano, our good old friend Raimundo Contreras, Escalante, Adrian Miller, Hugo Puentes, Eric Yon Ponce, who is a Flash stalwart. Yon is staying in Chihuahua. Uriel Zuart, the rookie who did so well last year. We talked about it. Pareja Rios, still there. Torres Gonzalez, still there. Popper Hernandez and Enrique Cañas, along with Flaco Macias, all still there. Luis Jaime Borrego, who was formerly Monterrey's head coach, stays in Chihuahua. So big ups, I'd say, to the Savage. They kept their team together. And as such, Monterrey-Chihuahua is going to be one of the best rivalries in the MASL, and it'll just be really interesting to see how each of these teams performs stateside and performs as the year goes along.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see these two teams. I think that's going to be the story of the year right now is how these guys do not just against each other but stateside, like you said. It's crazy to me. I mean, we talked about this, so much that we just knew we were so positive that this team was going to fall apart once Monterrey came back because everybody was going to go back to Monterrey. And no, that was not the case. So I mean, it's just crazy to see. I'm looking at this lineup and it's astounding. Like the amount now that I know these names, and the amount of talent that is in this team. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be very difficult for not just the Sockers but everybody on the West, to beat this team. So yeah, it's gonna be an exciting time for the Mexican teams for sure.
And Gio mentions in the chat, and it does bear repeating. These are going to be new names that we are learning in the sport of indoor soccer. Anselmo Vendrichovsky, whose nickname is Jorginho. And Jorginho is deeply decorated in futsal. So you've got players with futsal experience. Now, listen, you don't have to defend a wall in futsal. The boundary is an ally in futsal. So it's not the same, but the foot skill is what you usually see. The talent, the foot skill, the ability to work in small spaces, the ability to stop and start, the ability to generate a shot out of nothing. That's what you get from that deep futsal experience. So there's still a learning curve. It's not a one-to-one transition by far, but it is important. And having futsal players in, how quick do they move? I mean, once again, right? Chihuahua started the year 0-5 last year. By the end of the year, there was just no question that they were second selection to San Diego in terms of the most dangerous team in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be interesting to see that for sure.
All right, let's keep it moving, and let's move up to Empire. Let's head up the I-15. Let's go to the place formerly known as Ontario that now is an empire unto itself. And let's check out the Strikers roster. And, Jerry, it's one of these a lot of the same and a little bit of different. So from the a lot of the same category, you've got the two keepers back. You've got Clayson DeLima and Chris Toth. So starting from the back, you know that Empire will have a chance to win every single game they play because they've got two number one level goalkeepers in the system. So that's a great position to build from for Empire. Now, all the familiar names, all the old names of a team that didn't make the playoffs last year and that collapsed, those guys are back. Frank Tayu is back. Uzi Tayu is back. The Stinger Justin Stinson is back. Jesus Pacheco, Nestor Hernandez, Juan Topete, Christian Alvarado, Israel Cisse, Ismael De Luna, Alan Perez, Robert Palmer, Uzi. All of these strikers remain strikers. But what has changed? What has improved for this team? You have to start with the man that'll wear number 88 and presumably will team up with Frank Tayu at forward, and that's Mohamed Mo Ndiaye, formerly of the St. Louis Ambush, who last year was the leader of the St. Louis Ambush, 19 goals, 43 points in 21 games, 24 assists in 21 games. This is his fourth year coming up in indoor soccer. Last year was his breakout season, and I think Mo Ndiaye is a real player to look out for Empire.
Yeah, that's exactly who I would pick to really cause some damage on other teams on the side of Empire. He just is, he had his breakout season, like you said, with St. Louis. Before with Baltimore, he didn't do too bad either when he was playing in 2018 through 2020. But definitely last season, I think, was his best season of indoor with St. Louis. So we're going to get to see, the same, like you said, the same kind of team out of Empire that we expected with Fury, because a lot of their players, like you said, who's Pacheco, Nestor Hernandez, right? Some of those Clayson DeLima and Toth, the Tayu brothers, they're all back. Adding somebody like Ndiaye and then also Armando Tello, is going to be somebody that's going to be very interesting to follow, because again, another very talented player, and he has a lot of indoor background since going back to 2014 with the Tacoma, and then making his way through in Saltillo and Cedar Rapids. He played it with the Tropics. He played with Baltimore as well. So they're bringing in some really interesting players to Empire, and I think it's gonna be good for them. It's a good mixture, while keeping a lot of their main guys still there as well. Um, I don't know, who else in here? Because I feel like they have so many
One
new
other.
players.
Well, there's some guys that are MASL 2 guys that they have listed on their roster. They've got their draft picks listed on their roster. I'm not going to
Got
worry
it.
about those guys till I have to. But there's one other import from Kansas City, and I think sneakily he could make a pretty big impact on the Strikers, and that's Adam James, who is coming into the back line as a defender. Because, while this is certainly not striking fury, if you were being a little analytical about Empire and you were saying, well, what are some of the things that has bedeviled Empire over the last couple of years, and in particular last year, I think one thing you can look at is the speed of their back line and the fact that it's kind of an older, more veteran back line, and especially when they had Thiago Goncalves, who's inactive right now, but, Uzi, Robert Palmer, these aren't young players coming out of the back. Jeff Hughes was playing out of the back a little bit last year, and so the idea of a quick spring counter coming out of Ontario, unless you're feeding it up to a forward, it's not very likely. Adam James is fast. There's one thing you can say for sure, and that's Adam James is a fast player. He is a straight line runner in this sport. He's somebody who will get up the field from the defender's position, and he is someone who is not afraid to shoot. In 2021, in the COVID season, he had 11 goals in 12 games and 16 points for Kansas City Comets. Now, last year, he fell off a map. 20 games, almost a career high, and a career low with 4 goals and 6 points. But I think he fell a little bit out of favor at Kansas City. He's going to get a chance for that second opportunity coming to the West Coast. And if there's one thing that he could add to Empire, I think he could add a little straight-ahead speed.
It's going to be very interesting to see how these teams mold into their final versions. I think we're not going to see the what's a good word, the completely transformed version that this team is going to be for the at least for a month. Especially with this team's coming in, it's going to take a little while to see them. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody starts off 0-5 and then becomes one of the best teams in the West, Chihuahua. So I think Empire is going to be one of those teams if they can mesh well, and I mean they've brought these players on early on. It's going to be really, really a fun time in the West. It's for sure, I think, going to be the most difficult of the two conferences. Just from looking at Monterrey and Chihuahua, and now Empire as well. I mean, and now we still have to talk about Mesquite Outlaws too, and Dallas.
Yep, correct. And that's where we're going next, Lone Star State. And very much, Jerry, like what we heard last year with Chihuahua. Oh, Monterrey's coming back. Chihuahua's going to lose their whole team. Chihuahua will go down. Monterrey will go up. We heard the exact same thing about Mesquite. Hey, Mesquite had to lay out a couple seasons, but Tattoo's back, their staff is back, and soon all the good sidekick players will be back in Mesquite. So I'm going to start with Dallas because Dallas made the playoffs last season, admittedly a slightly expanded field, but they made the playoffs last season, and most of their best players stayed home at the Allen Event Center, which has been renamed for other corporate needs. Juan Gamboa, who was the absolute key to the Dallas Sidekicks, is back in net. He had one of his best years last year. Rio Ramirez, Mike Jones, Anthony Powell, Gustavo Piedra, Cameron Brown, Christian Quintana, Oscar Romero, Christian Vasquez, Jamie Lovegrove, Cody Ellis, Bradley Baladez, Felipe de Souza, Felipe Silva, all of these guys returning to the Dallas Sidekicks. They don't have what looks to me to be a complete roster yet. They only show 18 players on their roster. But one guy that they're very excited about is Blas Perez, who I know they signed and then had a welcome at the airport type thing for Blas Perez. So Dallas maybe slightly shaved down, but the way Jamie Lovegrove and Juan Gamboa played last year, the toughness of a Cody Ellis, a Cameron Brown, Felipe de Souza was a pretty prolific scorer last season for them. So it still looks like there's a pretty decent team in Dallas.
Yeah, I would say the same. And it's, like you said, we have a team that for the most part looks like they're coming back, but they don't look complete. So they can still add some firepower there that could really change that team. But then you start looking at Mesquite Outlaws. They really don't look like a complete team yet. From what we know, at least we have information that we have access to. It doesn't mean that they don't have other players already ready to go. But, one of the players that I would say right away off the top of my head for Mesquite Outlaws is they have a great goalkeeper in Pollo Cortez. That's probably one of the best goalkeepers in the league.
So it's a very short roster on the MASL Soccer website for Memphis Outlaws. They currently list a grand total of 13 players, and it looks like 12 field players with Pollo Cortez. Yeah. The interesting name here is the one, to me, big defection from Dallas, and that's Luis Morales, who was the newcomer of the year last year with Dallas, scoring 22 goals in 17 games, newcomer of the year. That's the MASL's version of rookie of the year. So, the best young player on Dallas did decide to make the move to Memphis. Jorge De Leon, formerly of Ontario, but previously of Mesquite, came back. So that's a loss for Strikers / former Fury. Here's a kid who scored 16 goals, 24 points last year for Ontario. He's back with Mesquite. That's a nice building block for Tattoo to work with. And then you've got Pablo da Silva, who we may remember retired to be the head coach of Dallas last year, went 0-3, got fired. Ricardinho took over and became coach of the year. And now he's back, apparently as an outfield player once again. So right now, my friend, I would rank Mesquite at the bottom of the list simply because this isn't a full team here. This is 6 guys, a keeper, and 1 set of reserves. And while I'm sure they're going to be announcing more players between now and their first game's pretty soon.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, too, our buddy, Emmanuel Aguirre, is with Mesquite as well.
I mean, they play this weekend.
They play this weekend.
Monterrey.
So it's going to be very interesting to see that lineup. Okay, so I'm definitely keeping an eye on that. With 13 players, I mean, that doesn't look like anything. And there's no way that that's all they have right now. I just don't think that it's been updated. But so it'll be very interesting to see. And who are they playing up against? Who's their first game against? Monterrey. Okay. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be fun.
Oh, this is going to be great. Oh, I love it.
Hey, Miss Watson said, and the Stars. Don't forget the Stars.
Oh, of
we
course
did not forget the Stars.
No.
Don't worry. Last on our preview list, the Tacoma Stars. Now, why is Tacoma last on the preview list? Last on the preview list because until I saw that Mesquite only has 13 guys on their roster, I think Tacoma was a pretty easy pencil in for last place in the Western Conference. And the only reason I say that is there are no changes to this team. There are no significant changes to this team. Yes, Danny Waltman's back, another year older. This whole team is another year older. Argeo, Hansen, Keats, Jones, Caceres, Lund, Pereira, Juice Cox, Tyler John, Vince McCluskey, DeBray Holloman, Michael Ramos, Adrian Carrera, Alex the Silent Assassin Megson, couple of new players, draft guys, De La Luz, Navarro. We hope they add in, but I just kind of feel like the Stars franchise has been stuck in neutral the last couple years, since the first year that Nick was head coach, and he hasn't been that now for 2 seasons. But it just kind of feels like it's always the same guys showing up to the same gym at the same time every year. And it's that old saying, you get in what you get out what you put in. If you put in the same thing every time, you can't really expect it to be different the next time.
No, absolutely not. And yeah, you're right. I think it's going to be a battle for the bottom for unfortunately for Tacoma, or from what I'm looking at right now, the Outlaws. It's going to be very, very interesting to see if there's any changes throughout the season. I know that there's only a certain amount of time that they have for player additions, right? Or has that changed at all?
If it hasn't changed, it'll probably change.
That's what I'm starting to learn about this league.
MASL gonna MASL.
MASL gonna MASL. No, but this is exactly Danny Waltman is gonna Danny Waltman.
Yeah.
This is the same.
Marleisha's right. There will be one game this year that Danny Waltman either beats us or almost beats us.
Oh my gosh!
It happens,
of course,
every single year. He has that game where he saves 15, 16 shots, and it's we go, oh my gosh. Last year Brandon Escoto pulled that game out 4-3 in overtime. The previous year Danny got them, and got the win down here in a 1-goal game. So it's always a thing to look forward to. But the Sockers only play Tacoma twice this year, and frankly, I could have stood to see them a couple more times in the schedule because I just don't think that they are quite at the level. Right now, I would say that there are 3 tiers in the Western Conference. I think the top tier, in no particular order, is San Diego and the 2 Mexican sides. I think Ontario and Dallas would be my teams to put into the play-in game, into that 4-5 game. And I look at Mesquite and Tacoma right now as a cut below. And not to say that Mesquite couldn't surprise us, because they absolutely could. They're an unknown. Not to say that Monterey couldn't come out and disappoint us a little bit, or that Empire maybe could find a different level if NDI can really bring something to that team and really give them a lift. Or if Frank comes back with an MVP level Frank Taillou type performance. I'm not writing any of these teams off, but just looking at the rosters for a Western Conference preview like we're doing here, right now I look at it as Sockers, Monterey, Chihuahua, put that in a bag. Empire, Dallas, put that in a bag. Memphis and Tacoma, they're in their own bag. It's a wet paper bag. They need to punch their way out.
Yeah, I 100% agree. We'll see. The only thing is, obviously, this is a Sockers podcast, and out of those teams that you just mentioned, we're the only ones that started Monday. Everybody else started way before us. So, we'll see.
We're also the only team that won the last 2 titles.
Let's go.
Out of that group.
That's true.
So, they'd like to have our roster, even if it showed up on Monday. And they wanted to start training camp 4 weeks before.
Facts. There's a reason we're the Lords of Indoor.
And with that, we're going to bring an end to this episode of Sockers Overtime. Jerry, you did it, man. You made it 82 minutes. We're going to call for the substitution right now.
I appreciate it. There was one time I missed a mute. Every other time I think I got it. But so I apologize for that big cough. But yeah, thank you guys all for being here. I'm excited to see you guys again next Tuesday as we get closer and closer. 11 days, Craig.
Oh, my God. Well, we'll be seeing a lot of you at the season ticket member party. That's the one thing I'll just say on the way out.
That's right.
Calafino, Sunday, season ticket member party. It's actually going to start at 11 a.m. with the World Cup match, whatever knockout match is on that day. And then as the match ends, we'll roll into our season ticket member activities. The whole team will be there. And yes, we will be revealing our kits for the season exclusively to the season ticket members. They will see the third kit before anyone will see it other than people in our organization. We're going to embargo them from even showing photos of it. That's how much of an advanced look they get. So if you haven't become a season ticket member yet, now's the best time to do it. SDSoccers.com/tickets. RSVP by tomorrow. Join us at the season ticket member party. Thanks to Boris Pardo. Thanks to all of you for tuning in live here on Twitch. For Jerry Jimenez, I'm Craig Elston. Have a great weekend. We will see you at the season ticket members party. We will see you at the golf tournament. And we'll see you right back here next Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Until then, have a great time and go Sockers!